Hi students, good morning. Welcome back to our physics classes and I hope all of you are keeping well. Okay, during last few classes we were discussing about properties of electric charges. That means properties of charge and what is charge and what are the properties of electric charges, just like electric force between the charges, then electric field intensity, then potential, then how you can store electric charges. All these matters we were discussing. And making the discussion, we kept that charge at rest. We kept that charge at rest. So we have seen the properties of charges at rest. And we want to make that charge set into motion. And we have to check whether the properties of a moving charge and a resting charge are same or not. We have to check whether the charges acquire some more properties when it under motion. We know well about the properties of a resting charge, and we have to discuss some properties of moving charges. How you can make a charge set into motion. How you can make a charge set into motion. From the Newton and Newton's laws, we came to know that to make a straight change, it requires a force. To make a straight change, it requires a force. Since it is a charged body, how you can apply a force on a charged body? How you can apply force on a charged body? Answer is with you. You have already learned that when an electric charge is subjected to an electric field, it will experience a force. When an electric charge is subjected to electric field, it will experience an electric force. And that electric force, if it is sufficiently enough to overcome its inertia of rest, that makes that charge into motion. That sets that charge into motion. So, to make a resting charge into motion, we have to supply or we have to apply an electric field to that particular charge. So, with that charge, with that electric field, the charge will charge will experience a force, and due to that force, the charge starts to move. The charge starts to move. So when a charge starts to move, what are the properties of that moving charge? What are the properties of that moving charge? Simple words, we can say that if you are supplying an electric field into a charge, that electric field can accelerate that charge. How we can make it say that it is accelerated? Because initially, when the charge is at rest, its velocity will be zero, and when it starts to move, obviously it will experience a velocity, and from zero velocity it acquires a velocity, which means that charge gets accelerated. So what are the properties of accelerating charges? What are the properties of an accelerated charge? So when a charge gets accelerated, it's set into motion, and when a charged body is moving, we can call it is an electric current. That is, movement of electric charges is known as electric current. Movement of charges is known as electric current. So in this coming chapter, we are going to discuss what is electric current and what are the properties of electric current, and what extra properties a charge acquires when it starts to move. Or in other words, when a charge is at rest, it has some properties. When a charge set into motion, it has its own properties, and we have to check whether they are same or any extra property it acquires when it is under motion. So we have already completed our the first unit electrostatics, and now we have to start with our new unit with the new topic, that is current electricity. So the current electricity starts with electric current. So in your lower classes, you have already learned about what is electric current and what are the factors affecting electric current, and some terms related to electric current. All those you can recollect now, and we are just refreshing all those matters here, and some extra points also we have to add since you are in your 12th standard. Okay, so we can go for electric current and come with me. Okay, so we can start with electric current. First of all, what is electric current? What is electric current? You have already learned a definition for electric current from your lower classes. In simple means or simple words, you can define electric current as rate of flow of electric charges. Rate of flow of electric charges, which means the amount of charge flowing per unit time. Amount of charge flowing per unit time, that is defined as electric current. So the charge flowing per second in an electric circuit is electric current. The charge flowing per second in an electric circuit is electric current. Total charge flowing per second per unit time in an electric circuit. What do you mean by electric circuit? So, electric circuit is a closed continuous path through which the electric charge can flow. That is known as an circuit. And from the lower classes, you have already learned that to flow electric charges requires a medium, a path. And that path should be continuous and closed. A closed continuous path through which electric charge can flow is known as electric circuit. You have already learned that. What is the unit of electric current? Unit of current is ampere. Unit of electric current is ampere. All these matters you have learned in your lower classes. That is why I am just refreshing all these matters now. So 1 ampere is the current in which 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second. 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second. 1 coulomb of charge is flowing in 1 second. Then that current is known as 1 ampere of current. Okay, that is known as 1 ampere of current. So 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per 1 second. 1 coulomb per 1 second, that is defined as 1 ampere. So when you are considering an electric current, that electric current is flowing through a circuit. And the circuit is the closed continuous path through which electric charge can flow. So suppose when you are considering an electric circuit, and through that electric circuit a current is flowing, that is I amount of current is flowing. I mean I is the notation given for current, and I is the amount of current flowing through a circuit. And when you are considering a particular cross-sectional area of that circuit, what is the amount of current flowing through unit cross-sectional area? You can imagine now, current is flowing through a circuit, and through a closed, particular area, I amount of current is flowing. So you can calculate what is the current flowing per unit area. So the current flowing per unit area is defined as the current density, and it is denoted by small letter J. So current density is the current flowing per unit area in a direction perpendicular to that area. So whenever you consider that area, current is flowing perpendicular direction. So a current flowing per unit area is known as current density. current density. See, the current density is defined as the current flowing per unit area of cross section drawn through a particular point perpendicular to the direction of current flow. That is current density. So current density, since it is, see here current density is given by J, which is equal to I by A, where I is the current flowing through an area A, and its unit is ampere per meter square. Ampere per meter square. See, I is current, but current is a scalar quantity. Current is a scalar quantity, but current density is a vector quantity. Current is a scalar quantity and current density is a vector quantity. Current density is a vector quantity. Why it is a vector quantity? Because it is a derived quantity. And it is given by J is equal to I by A. Area is a vector quantity. We have already discussed that area is a vector quantity. So I by A should be a vector quantity. A scalar divided by vector quantity. That should be a vector quantity. And since current density is given by I by A, current density is a vector quantity. Remember, current is a scalar quantity, I is a scalar quantity, and J, the current density, is a vector quantity. Okay, now we have simply refreshed or discussed all the matters regarding electric current, what is electric current and what is its unit and current density, all these matters we have discussed. But we have to know how a current flow is possible through circuit. A current flow is possible through a circuit. So to make a current flow, we require a circuit, and that circuit should be continuous and closed. That circuit should be closed and continuous. What do you mean by a closed path? Closed path means it should not have any end points. That means a circle or a rectangle. All those are closed circuit. Closed circuits means no free ends are there. So there should be a closed path and it should be a continuous path. What do you mean by continuous path? And we have already know that current can't pass through all the materials or all the media. And the materials which allows the passage of electric current or electric charges are known as conductors. And some materials will not allow the passage of charges through them, so they are insulators. Hence, we can say that whenever you have a closed continuous path, then only current flow is possible. And what is the mechanism of current flow? So you should have a path made up of conducting material. That means it makes continuous one, and that continuous medium should make a closed path. Then only current flow is possible. But one more hidden criteria is there for making a current flow. What is that? I already told you, to make a charge move, it should be accelerated. How you can make it accelerated? You can apply a electric field. How you can apply electric field? By providing a potential difference. So whenever you have a closed continuous path with a potential difference within, then only a current flow is possible through that circuit. You should have a continuous closed path, but it should possess a potential difference between any 2 points within that closed continuous path. Then only electric current is possible. So we have to discuss what is the mechanism of current flow. What is the mechanism of current flow? The mechanism of current flow is named as free electron theory of conduction. The mechanism is dealt with free electron theory of conduction. And we have many times we have said that to make a current flow, we need a conductor. And the last session we have discussed the basic properties of a conductor. And the conductor is having free electrons. Conductor is having free electrons in them. And that free electrons are getting accelerated with a potential. And since they are free to move, they can travel through the conductor to make a current flow possible. In case of an insulator, since all the electrons are bound to their nuclei, it is not having any free electrons. So they are free from, or they are lacking that free electrons, so they can't support the current flow through that kind of materials. That is why they are called insulators. So how these free electrons are moving, or how the free electrons support the current flow through a conductor, that we are going to discuss. So by discussing the free electron theory, we have to familiar with some terms. And these terms are, first one is mean free path. So whenever you have a conductor, suppose you have a conductor of length L, conducting wire of length L, and it has a cross-sectional area A. And there are small n number of free electrons per unit volume. That is known as free electron density. That is free electrons per unit volume. Number of free electrons per unit volume. That is known as electron density. And the ends of that conducting wire is connected to a cell of potential V. So you can see the end of the conducting wire, which is connected to positive terminal of the cell having positive potential, and the end which is connected to the negative terminal has a negative potential, which means these two ends are having a potential difference. So a conductor with a potential difference across its ends. What will happen? See, that potential is applied to a length L. This potential difference is acting through a length L. That can derive an electric field intensity. You have already learned what is the relation between electric field and electric potential. So negative potential gradient is electric field. What it means? It means whenever you are having a potential acting for a length L, that can derive a electric field intensity. So here, from positive end to negative end, an electric field is acting. From positive end to negative end, an electric field E is acting. And when you consider an electron which is having negative charge, this electron will experience a force. What kind of force? Electric force. And due to that force, these electrons are moving with a velocity Vd. Remember that term Vd. Now I will explain what is Vd. Anyhow, that electrons are moving. In which direction they are moving? They are moving in a direction opposite to the electric field. Okay, so a current is generated through that conductor. A current is generated through that conductor. Is it clear? The situation. We have a conducting wire of length L having cross-sectional area A, and N is the total number of electrons per unit volume of that conductor. Number of free electrons per unit volume, that is small n. Note it down. And the ends of the conducting wire is connected to a cell of potential V. So a potential difference will be there between the ends of that conductor. And from positive end to the negative end, an electric field is generated. As a result of that electric field, electrons will experience a force. What is that? What is the amount of force there? F is equal to E into Q. What is Q? The charge. What is the charge here? Electronic charge, small e. So force acting on an electron will be E into capital E. Okay, we will come to that. Anyhow, you remember a force is experienced by the electron, and as a result of that force, they are moving the velocity Vd in a direction opposite to the electric field. Okay. So while they are moving through that conductor, they are free electrons. From where these free electrons comes? These free electrons are coming from their atoms. And when these electrons are getting free from that atoms, what is the situation of that atoms? That atoms are getting positive charges. So on the surface of that conductor, we can see free electrons and some positive sites. What are these positive sites? These are the atoms. These are the atoms from which free electrons are generated. Free electrons are generated. So when these electrons are traveling through, when their electrons are traveling through the surface of that conductor, as a result of that potential difference supplied, there is a chance of colliding these electrons with the positive sides on the surface of the conductor. While traveling to the surface, these electrons may collide with the positive sides present over the surface of the conductor. So while they are getting collided, what will happen? Their velocity will change. Their velocity will change. And while they are moving through the surface of the conductor, the free electrons are accelerated by a potential difference, make the free electrons to move in a direction opposite to the electric field. While they are traveling through the electric field, they may collide with the positive sides on the conductor, and that sides are called lattice points. You have learned in your chemistry classes in solid state physics, in a crystal or in a solid material, atoms are present in a particular points, and those points are called lattice points. And whenever an electron getting free from the atoms present in the lattice point, at the lattice points, now the electrons are there which are lacking free electrons there. So what will happen? The atoms present at the lattice points are having positive charge. That I told, these are the positive sides over the surface of the conductor. And electrons are free, outermost electrons, that free electrons are get separated from the atoms, and they are now free to move around this, along the surface of the conductor. So while they travel from one end to the other, negative end to the positive end, they can make collision with the positive points or positive sides, positive atoms or positive ions present at the lattice points. Okay. In relation with the movement of free electrons through a conductor, we have to define some terms. And the first term is mean free path. The average distance moved by free electrons between two successive collisions with positive ions is called mean free path. The average distance moved by a free electrons between two successive collisions. I already told you, while traveling through the conducting surface, they can collide with the positive ions. So between two successive collisions, what is the average distance moved by a free electrons? What is the average distance moved by a free electron? That is known as mean free path. That is known as the mean free path. Okay. Then next term is relaxation time. Relaxation time. What is the relaxation time? Average time interval between two successive collisions is called the relaxation time. So the time interval between two successive collisions, average time interval between two successive collisions is known as relaxation time. Another term is drift velocity. I already told you, free electrons are moving with a velocity Vd, and that Vd is the drift velocity. What is drift velocity? The average velocity with which electrons are moving along the length of a conductor opposite to given electric field is the drift velocity. We have already seen electric field is generated by the potential difference supplied across the ends of the conductor. As a result of that electric field, electrons are getting accelerated. They are moving with a velocity Vd in a direction opposite to the given electric field along the length of the conductor. So that velocity, the average velocity with which electrons are moving along the length of a conductor opposite to the given electric field is the drift velocity. So three important terms you have to remember there. One is mean free path, another relaxation time, and the third one is drift velocity. So mean free path is the average distance moved by a free electron between two successive collisions with the positive ions, and the relaxation time is the average time interval between two successive collisions, and the drift velocity is the average velocity with which electrons are moving along the length of a conductor opposite to the given electric field. Okay, so these are the important terms related to the mechanism of conduction. Okay, now we have to calculate what is the drift velocity. For that, you can come back to our earlier diagram that I have already shown you. We have already seen what are the three important terms, that is the relaxation time, then mean free path, and drift velocity. And now we have to discuss what is drift velocity and how you can calculate the drift velocity. So for that, we can go back to our earlier diagram that I have already shown you, in which we have a conducting wire of length L with cross-sectional area A with number density, electron density N, and it is provided with a potential difference V, which can provide an electric field E, and within that electric field, these electrons are getting accelerated. So the force experienced by the free electrons is given by E into E. The force experienced by electrons within the electric field E, that force is given by, the force acting will be F is equal to E into E, where the equation is F is equal to E into Q. Here Q is charge of an electron, that is E, so F is equal to E into E. But according to Newton, that is equal to M into A. So the acceleration of the electron, I already told you, within the help of a force, acceleration will be there. So acceleration of the electron A is equal to F by M, which is equal to E divided by M. But we know E is equal to V by L. That also we have seen electric field is a potential gradient. E is equal to V by L. Hence, A is equal to EV divided by ML. What we have done? E and E by M we have kept there, and E you have replaced by V by L. So, A is equal to EV divided by ML. Therefore, the drift velocity is equal to Vd is equal to A into tau. You think from where that equation come? We have already said that velocity is equal to acceleration into time. Acceleration into time. Why it is called acceleration into relaxation time? Because acceleration is there on that electron during the relaxation time. Why? Because relaxation time is the time interval between two successive collisions. So when make a collision, it gets accelerated, and when it makes the next successive collision, its velocity changes. Which means with a particular acceleration, it travels an interval of relaxation time. Which means with an acceleration, an electron travels with an acceleration till its next collision. Are you getting me? Suppose an electron get collided, it get accelerated, and it gets accelerated till the next collision. That is why it is called acceleration remains there for relaxation time. So drift velocity or velocity you can calculate as acceleration into time. So here drift velocity Vd is equal to acceleration into relaxation time. So what is relaxation time there? Relaxation time is tau. Relaxation time is denoted by tau. So Vd is equal to acceleration into tau, where acceleration is equal to EV by ml multiplied by tau. EV by ml multiplied by tau. V by L you can, if you are replacing V by L with E, then it will become EE by m into tau. EE by m into tau. You have to remember this equation. It's a very important equation, where drift velocity is equal to EV by ml into tau or EE by m into tau. Okay, so nothing we have done. We have already said that whenever there is a potential difference applied across the ends of a conductor, it derives an electric field. That electric field accelerate electric charges, which means electrons. And while these electrons are traveling through the conductor, they collide with the positive sides, where they are losing their acceleration, and between two successive collisions only a particular acceleration acts, and that time is relaxation time. And the velocity, then you can define the drift velocity as a velocity with which an electron is traveling between two successive collisions, that is during relaxation time. And but we are defined average, drift velocity is the average velocity with which an electron is traveling. And we get why we are defined it is in the in that sense, it is the average velocity with which electrons are moving. You can remember the average velocity, drift velocity, as the average velocity with which electrons are moving along the length of a conductor opposite to the given electric field. Since during the collisions the velocity changes, that is why we are taken the average velocity. Okay, so EV by ml into tau or EE by m into tau, that is the drift velocity. That is the drift velocity. So drifting, what is drifting? The term drifting refers to the movement of free electrons from one end to the other of a conductor in presence of an external electric field or external potential difference. Movement of free electrons from one end to the other of a conductor in the presence of an external electric field or potential difference is known as drifting. So with what average velocity electrons are drifting from one end to the other, that is known as the drift velocity. That is known as the drift velocity. So what is the reason for drift velocity? The reason for drift velocity is acceleration. What is the reason for acceleration? Obviously a force. Which force is giving that acceleration there? The electric force. Who is providing that electric force? The potential difference. How potential difference can exert a force there? Potential difference not directly applying a force there. Potential difference derives an electric field. That electric field is providing an electric force there. So in a simple way we can say that drift velocity is provided by electric field. Drift velocity is provided by electric field. Drift velocity is provided by electric field. So if you are providing more electric field, from that equation it's clear, that is E by m into tau. That is drift velocity. So if you are providing more potential difference, it can derive more electric field, then drift velocity will be more. Or if you are providing a less potential difference, then electric field generated will be also less, then drift velocity also will be less. So we can say that drift velocity is provided by electric field. Drift velocity is provided by electric field. So drift velocity is a measure of its movement. Movement means mobility of free electrons. So mobility of free electrons is determined by drift velocity, and the drift velocity is determined by electric field intensity. In turn, that is determined by electric potential difference applied, that is provided by the cell. Anyhow, that electric mobility you can define. Electrical mobility you can define now. See, mobility of electrons. Magnitude of drift velocity imparted by a uniform electric field of strength 1 volt per meter. That is mobility, which means magnitude of drift velocity imparted by a uniform electric field of strength 1 volt per meter. That is known as mobility of electrons. Don't get confused with this equation. See, we have drift velocity Vd is equal to E tau divided by, or Ee by m into tau. What is Ee by m? The acceleration into tau, that is Ee by m into tau. We have rearranged E that as E tau divided by m into E. And we have taken E tau divided by m. What is actually that? Vd by E. Vd divided by E, which is taken as E tau divided by m, which is defined as mobility of electrons. That is defined here, magnitude of drift velocity per unit electric field intensity. Are you getting me? Drift velocity acquired per unit electric field intensity. From the equation is very clear. Is it? So Vd by E is equal to E tau divided by m. So E tau by m is defined as mu E, which is the mobility of electrons. So we can say that Vd is equal to mu E into E, or mu E is equal to Vd by E, which is drift velocity per unit electric field intensity is the mobility. And drift velocity is denoted in terms of current density, that is J by Ne. I have kept it in a red box here. Now you have to learn that, but we will discuss it in the next session. Okay, so Vd is equal to J by Ne. So mu is equal to J by Ne into E. This is another form of mobility in terms of current density. Don't worry, we will discuss it. Okay, we will discuss it. So anyhow, drift velocity is given by drift velocity is given by J by NE, and the mobility is given by J by NEE. And what is electric mobility? Mobility is the drift velocity acquired per unit electric field intensity. Unit electric field intensity is defined as the electrons mobility of electrons. So we have defined what is electric current, and basics of current electricity, basics of electric current, electric current and current electricity. And remember that three terms, that is mean free path, relaxation time, and drift velocity. And I think drift velocity is a new term for you. So drift velocity is the velocity with which electrons are traveling from one end to the other through a conductor. That means from one end to the other of a electric circuit. And remember what is the mechanism of current flow. I already told you, even though you are having a conductor and that conductor will not provide you a current since it has many free electrons, but still it is lacking a potential difference, and for providing a potential difference we are connecting the ends of that conductor to a cell. A cell is a device which can provide you a potential difference. The properties of cell you have already learned. That is why I am not repeating all these. So a potential difference is provided at the across the ends of a conductor. So both the ends are having a potential difference. So that potential difference provides an electric field. That electric field generates a force on free electrons, and with the force they get accelerated, and that acceleration is acting in opposite to the external electric field. So they are to start to drift from one end to other. During their drift they are colliding with the positive sides. So the average distance traveled by the free electrons between two successive collisions is known as the mean free path, and the time interval between two successive collisions is the relaxation time. And actually the drift velocity is the velocity with which electrons are traveling between two successive collisions. That is the velocity while drifting. But drift velocity we are defining as the average velocity with which electrons are moving from one end to another. Which means, I already told you, between collisions their velocities are changing, but we are taking the average velocity with which electrons are moving from one to another within the conductor during their drifting. So that is drift velocity, and we have got the equation for drift velocity, that is EE by m into tau, or EV by ml into tau, where tau is the relaxation time. And we have defined the mobility. Mobility is the drift velocity acquired per unit electric field intensity. Okay, so refer all these terms in your textbook and take down the copy. I think you have completed the problems from the last session, and some of you have asked me some questions and I provided you that solutions. I think it is clear, and if any more doubts you can send me through WhatsApp, no problem. I will give you the solutions, and always stay up to date, and stay healthy, and stay safe, and we will meet in the next session. Okay, bye.